Today there were not, and again, I hope we can get through today doing our work and avoiding fatalities.
Yes, I think that there was certainly, a surprise that these folks were able to get inside. And, we do know that the Capitol is such a secure building. It's hard to imagine that anyone was able to breach it. And we do want you to just give us a minute, Representative Sherman. We want to continue speaking with you, but we have learned that President Trump has just released a video statement. Even in the statement, he makes unfounded claims about the election being stolen from him. Let's listen in.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
And that was the president giving a message telling the folks now to go home, that we have to have peace. He did reiterate that this was a stolen election, that saying that it was a landslide win and that it was stolen from him. But he did encourage people to go home and that we do need peace. Representative Sherman, I hope that you are still with us now. What do you think of this message that we just heard?
Well, he said the two words he needed to say, which was go home, but he buried those words among so much incitement that this election has been stolen, which is so crazy. I mean, you look at the process, you look at the outcomes in the various states, it makes sense. This country, by a relatively narrow margin, and it worries me that Trump got so many votes, rejected Trump. He lost the popular vote. He lost the electoral vote. He lost by an electoral college vote of 306 for Biden, which 4 years ago Trump defined as a landslide. It's time for him to go. And I do not see people leaving the Capitol after that statement. It's got to be a lot. He's got to say a lot less about how he feels he won this election, and he's got to say a lot more about how his cult followers need to vacate the Capitol.
It is definitely concerning. We do know that we're just getting reports that there was at least one explosive device that was found near the Capitol. We do know that it has been taken care of and is no longer a threat to the people that are there. But, just another way of hearing how dangerous this situation could be. And finally, the president has told people to go home, saying that we do need to have peace. But as you mentioned, Representative Sherman, he did again mention that the election was stolen, that it was a landslide. And that is tough to hear for these folks that continue to stay there, that made their way into the Capitol, that breached security, that posed in offices. And we do know that gunshots were fired and at least one person was hit. We believe that is a protester, and we do not know the condition of that person. But the fact that House members had to be told to get under their chairs, to grab masks for tear gas, to protect them, to lock their office doors, to shelter in place. And there are still many that are still inside, locked in their offices. Just the fear here in the United States of America, when we should be showing a sign of democracy with just 2 weeks away from the inauguration.
Yes, we have a whole bureau at the State Department that works to achieve democracy and to promote democracy around the world, and to comment about how to have free elections and free speech. And imagine how difficult it would be after 4 years of Donald Trump and the last 4 hours of the Capitol being occupied for us to promote democracy around the world. This is a real setback to our foreign policy and, frankly, to the contest that we have vis-a-vis China, where they're trying to promote a completely different and unfree and undemocratic system. It is just, it's so heartbreaking for me to see these sights that I see every day in my work. Tear gas in the rotunda, a cynical takeover of the Senate floor, some lunatics sitting in the presiding chair of the Senate chamber. My God, desecration is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, and I think that is a very appropriate word. We've been watching now. It looked as though some officers were trying to push people away from a particular area, but still just so many people still there on the Capitol. We do see more police presence from this vantage point at this time, and we do know that a curfew is in place at 6 o'clock, but it's really hard to say if the people will listen to what the president has just said about going home and that we need to have peace. We know that President-elect Biden had also called on the president to go on national television and demand an end to the siege on the Capitol. President-elect also saying that he's shocked and saddened to see this happening in our country and calling democracy fragile at this point. And Representative Sherman, to say that this is a desecration just seems very appropriate at this time.
Well, I look forward to seeing people in the San Fernando Valley, and I know that Trump will claim that he is not responsible for this because he uttered the words "go home," but he buried those words in this attack on the election, this bitter diatribe, and it looks like his people are not going home.
Not willingly, at least at this point. We are seeing some images of it looks as though officers are trying to corral these people out of this area. But, we still haven't heard that all is clear inside. And we know that representatives have been locked in their offices and really sheltering in place, locking their doors. And, it could take hours before this is all cleared out. And I know that you want to get back to work so that we can move forward.
We've got to end our 4-year national nightmare, and we've got 20 hours of work in front of us to move us in that direction. And January 20th cannot come too soon.
Yes, and we are just hoping that the days will all be peaceful up until the 20th, and that the 20th will also be a peaceful day, and that President Trump will continue to encourage his supporters to work toward peace and not violence. And we have to hope that this is the first step in that he has encouraged those protesters to go home and to be peaceful. But again, you just hope that he doesn't continue on with the word of the election being stolen and that he won in a landslide, and exciting these people to come again to the Capitol or anywhere else to make a stand and support him.
No, I had suspected that he would accept these results grudgingly and then declare that he was running in 2024. But I think that we've seen the end of a viable 2024 campaign from Trump today. I think he's turned himself into a fringe element, or he's identified with a fringe element in our country. I'm not saying he couldn't win the Republican nomination, but there's no way that someone associated with this attack, someone who has been so reluctant to call it off, has any chance in a general election in this country.
And do you think that this might be the end of his tweets and words about the election being stolen? Do you think that